Good morning, everyone. It's MJ. I hope everybody is well out there. I'm going to pick up my story from yesterday. So, MJ goes to jail just when I thought I was free. And just to recap, I came around that building that I was there with that guy to go to lunch, and then I was like, no. And so anyway, I didn't know if I should go knock on the door. I didn't know which door exactly it was. And so I knocked on the door, and there was a guy rolling up his mattress, his air mattress. And he told me to come in, and the woman immediately got on the phone, 911. And the little boy is going, Johanna needs help, Johanna needs help. And I just came from a place where girls are being shot up and prostituted out, and I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, where is she? Where? And he's like, there. And he was just a little tiny boy. And so I looked in the one room, there was all cribs all screwed to the wall. I didn't go in, I just looked in. And then he goes, no, there. So I guess that was it was the bathroom. So I pushed the door through, and I saw her, and she was okay. So anyway, I believe she came out, and I just patted her on the head. I said, okay, you're good. And then the cops caught me walking down the street, asked me what happened. I told them, and they said, oh, it was a misunderstanding, no big deal. But then they said, you do have a warrant, and you're in the other county because you were supposed to check in with the judge. I had unsupervised probation, but I was supposed to check in with the court, I guess. So they picked me up and took me there, and then I ended up exactly where I was. And then the family that I went into and the little girl needed help went and saw their immigration attorney. And I guess this is the way it was then. If you're illegal, but a crime has been committed against you in the United States, then you get automatic citizenship and all the benefits. So they went there, and then they kept calling and saying I was at her school, and I was by the house and this and that, and they knew I wasn't. I was in jail, and they knew exactly. Everybody knew where I was all the time. I mean, I don't have anything against Spanish people. My sisters have Spanish, and most of them are the ones that saved me most of the time. Like, when I'd be going around the city, they'd be beeping horns wherever I went, or they'd be picking up the phone and calling each one as I walked. It was crazy, but that's what they did. So, I'm grateful. But anyway, I went to court, and I told my attorney, I'm just pleading guilty. I don't want this to go to court or anything. Just give me a deal. I'm not saying anything. So she put me in this little room and closed the door, and I can hear her saying, Your Honor, my client is I don't know how she say it. My client is not defending herself, and I feel as though she should go for an evaluation to see if she stands sane for court, however that saying goes. So he said, okay. And I was like, oh my God. So anyway, I get in the jail. This lady has me squat. I have no idea why. And she's like, cough. I'm coughing. I didn't even know what was going on. But anyway, and then I changed. Then I slept for like the first 2 days. And then I got up, and it's like everybody knew me wherever I went. Like there was like these groups of this one organization, like Jamaican, and then there was like blacks, and then there was like whites, and there was like like maybe some secret societies or whatever. But anyway, everything was fine in there. And let's see what happened. Oh, I know. everything was going well, and just sitting there waiting. And this one lady that came in, and plus this younger girl, they were picking on her and them, and I knew that they weren't going to be able to take it. I knew they weren't going to be able to handle it. And like one was already crying. So I interjected, and I started saying stuff just to put the attention on me instead of them. And the girls would say, like, the next day, like, I hate when you argue with them, and I couldn't tell them why. But anyway, I took the attention off them and put it on me for the most part. I mean, they would still pick on them, but the focus was me. And they really didn't know what to make of me anyway, because I looked young, but I was older. And anyway, and they would just say things to me like the CEOs would say about me, but they actually never did. And then when my oldest son turned 18, I smoked pot with him. I don't know how they knew this, but the one girl besides me that was pregnant, that gets methadone every day, is like, oh, getting high with your children, that is just overboard. And I said, you get high with your child every day. What are you talking about? And of course, in like those type of reasons, I wasn't that popular. So anyway, I was in the shower the one morning, and and they talked about doing this to the one girl, getting a suitcase and bars of soap and beating her in the shower. That's one of the reasons why I intervened. And so because if you're caught in a fight in California on property and in an institution, you get an automatic year in the hole, and like on top of whatever else you're doing. So, and of course I would have been to blame. So anyway, I went and I took a shower, and then all of a sudden the CEO comes and rips open the curtain and just looks at me, and I'm like looking at her. I was like, what? And that's when I realized they were going to do it to me. So I went to the CEO and I said, well, I think I'm hearing voices. Like, I just don't feel safe. And so she put me in the hole. And they put me in a turtle suit, which, if you don't know what that is, it's really bad. It's just like these Velcros, no clothes, just and it's freezing in there, so you're just freezing. And they would take the hot water off me, and I would try to get back out there after a little while, and they'd be like, no, because your therapist has to release you, and they don't feel that you're stable enough. So they used against me what I used to get in there. And at this point, is all I'm waiting for is a hospital bed in Napa Valley to be evaluated to go to court. Okay. And that took forever. And so I was all by myself in a cell, and I really didn't call anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't want to bother anyone when I was in jail. Like, I just felt like it was my problem. I'll deal with it. If I called my mom or my sister, it was for a reason. And that was it. And then they would each take turns, like giving me $50 a month just to make sure I wasn't buying drugs, which of course I wouldn't. But anyway, so anyway, I went to Napa Valley, and this was after 8 months. I waited for a bed for 8 months, and I finally got called for a bed in Napa Valley. And so I went to Napa Valley. I got evaluated. I was only there for 2 days. They were like, yeah, this girl, she's definitely competent to stand trial. So anyway, my lawyer came to see me, afterwards, and I was like talking really loud because I wanted the COs to hear me, like what was going on. And she's the one that told me that I was a victim of a crime that people happen to do in the United States to get citizenship. So, and she's like, yeah, they were calling, they were saying you're this, and that, and we knew where you were. And so we know that you're not guilty. We know that you're a victim to this, but it is what it is. And if you're not going to defend yourself, then I don't know what to say, because I was not going to go back and snitch on anything that I had just been through. I was not going to say any of that. And somebody with no prior background like me, they would be like, well, what are you doing out here? So there was no way I was getting into any of that kind of story. So anyway, she came to see me, and then left, and that was it. And then the head of the jail, he finally let me out, and he let me into the gang unit. And so I went in there. I didn't care. I was just out. I was playing spades. And this one girl, I don't know, she said something. I said something back, whatever. And she came over and just punched me right in the head. And I just stood there, and I looked at her, and I was like, okay. And I mean, it was pretty hard. I had a lump. But then a little bit later, she came over and she apologized to me, which I don't know why. They usually don't do that, but she did. And I said, it's okay. Yeah, it's all good. And she's like, well, why didn't you fight back? I said, well, first of all, I'm not getting no year in the hole. And second of all, I just don't feel like violence is the answer. Like, if you can't talk it out first, you know, I mean, like, we are evolved beings, you know, we're not monkeys. So anyway, so I was in there for a little while, and I'm over 10 minutes, so I'm going to let it go there, and then we'll pick up tomorrow. Okay, love yous. Bye.